Hello everyone, welcome to Just K, where we talk about everything health. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. If you're not, please click on the subscribe and join us where we talk about everything health, mind, body, and soul. Today, we're going to talk about vitamin D deficiency. If you remember in the last video, I said that it was really important, and so we're going to touch on that today. We're going to also talk about thyroid disease, and you'll see as we get into the video the reason why I chose to talk about these two things. Vitamin D deficiency is extremely common. It affects almost 1 billion people worldwide. Vitamin D deficiency is when you don't have enough vitamin in your blood, in your body, and it works with calcium and phosphorus to build dense bone density. If you have vitamin D deficiency, it can lead to fractures and parathyroid issues, among other things. Parathyroid is a small endocrine gland that controls the amount of calcium in the blood and bones. They communicate with the kidneys, gut, and skeleton. Vitamin D deficiency, the glands borrow calcium from your skeleton to keep the rates normal for the other parts of your body that it affects. The best source of vitamin D is sunlight. That's where you get your vitamin D from. It can be found in a few foods. It can be found in mushrooms, orange juice, supplements. You can take a supplement for vitamin D. It's important to have. I'd say you're probably vitamin D deficient, especially if you live in a state like mine. You're probably vitamin D deficient. In adults, it can be symptomless, or they can be bone pain, muscle weakness, aches and cramping, mood changes like depression. In children, you usually see it with incorrect growth patterns, bone pain. There can be deformities in the joints, so it can be very serious. Possible medical causes to aid in vitamin D deficiency are fibrosis, Crohn's disease, celiac disease. These diseases don't allow the intestines to absorb enough vitamin D. Weight loss surgeries. When the stomach size and or part of the small intestines are reduced, it makes it harder for your body to consume vitamins and minerals. Obesity. If there are large amounts of fat cells in your body, they isolate vitamin D and therefore it doesn't release them into your body. Okay? There are medications that can cause vitamin D deficiency, a lot of laxatives, a lot of steroids like prednisone, a lot of statins, which are cholesterol lowering medications, a lot of anti-convulsants like phenobarbital, tuberculosis medications like rifampicin, weight loss drugs. They can all aid in your vitamin D deficiency. So if you're not getting enough sun, you're not taking a supplement, and you're on any of those types of medications, I would strongly suggest talking to your provider and or adding a daily small dose of vitamin D to what you take every day. The ways to avoid vitamin D deficiency are, again, get some natural light daily. Maintain a good body weight. Good body weight meaning not what the scale says, but what is a good body weight for your body structure. Treat existing medical conditions like celiacs. When I say treat, I mean not just finding out you have that disease and then doing it on your own. I mean literally make sure you're treated for that disease. Talk to your provider if you have a family history of osteoporosis, and then consider talking to your provider and or taking daily supplements, whether it be a multivitamin, something that's got vitamin D and calcium in it. Next, we're going to talk about thyroid disease. So your thyroid is a butter-shaped gland. It's in your neck above your collarbone. Thyroid hormones control the rate of various things in your body, like heat, heart rate, how fast you burn calories, that's your metabolism. It can affect anyone from babies to the elderly. It's an estimated 20 million people in just the United States alone have some type of thyroid disease. Women are said, and this is a statistic, I just want to put that out there, to be more likely to be diagnosed like by 5 or 8 times than men are. I do know of men who have thyroid problems though. The types of thyroid diseases are goiters. A goiter is enlargement of the thyroid gland. Hyperthyroidism is overactive thyroid glands. Hypothyroidism is underactive thyroid glands. I know I went over some of this in my last video. Thyroid cancer, thyroid nodules. Nodules are lumps on the gland, and thyroiditis, which is swelling of the gland. You're at higher risk for thyroid disease if you have a family history of it. Certain conditions like anemia, type 1 diabetes, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Sjogren's syndrome, Turner syndrome, or if you take medications that are high in iodine, like amiodarone, if you're older than 60, or if you've been treated for a thyroid cancer or another thyroid condition. Now let's go over a few symptoms of thyroid disease, because there's a lot of symptoms, and a lot of them are similar to other medical conditions, but the general symptoms can come in like two separate categories. For the overactive thyroid, it could be anxiety, depression, irritability, nervousness, trouble sleeping, losing weight, having a goiter, which is an enlarged gland, muscle weakness, tremors, irregular or stopped menstrual cycles, sensitivity to heat, vision problems, or eye irritation. For the more common one, which is underactive thyroidism, the symptoms can be fatigue, weight gain, forgetfulness, frequent and or heavy menstrual cycles, hoarse voice, intolerance to cold temperatures. Hair loss can also be a symptom of hypothyroid. There are other conditions to watch out for where your thyroid gland is concerned. And so if you're remember, overactive, then what you want to watch out for is Graves' disease. That's an enlarged gland where the entire gland is overactive. They call it diffuse toxic goiter. You want to watch out for nodules. It's a single or multiple nodules within the gland, within the thyroid gland, that are overactive. Thyroiditis comes from excessive iodine found in medications, heart medications like amiodarone or cough syrups. If you have underactive, you want to watch out for inflammation and swelling of the gland. You want to watch out for iodine deficiency. You want to watch out for a non-functioning gland, meaning not working at all. There's something called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and that's a painless disease. It's an autoimmune disease. It's inherited, and the body cells basically attack the thyroid. The reason I chose to talk about these two things is because these are things that could be bothering you and causing other symptoms that you're not even aware of. These are things that your doctor may or may not, depending on what your symptoms are, look at first. The only time I have ever been talked to my doctor about vitamin D deficiency is when I have gone to them and said, can you run a panel on me to see if I'm deficient in any vitamins or minerals? Thyroid, I just want to hold my neck up and just point out this little lump right here. And the reason I'm doing that is because any thyroid test I've ever taken has always come back in the high normal range for hyperthyroidism, and what that means is higher than the normal, but it's within normal limits to not be considered a thyroid problem. But yet now here I am with this lump on my throat. Don't know how that's going to turn out, but I'll let you know. But here's my point. Again, you could be suffering this and not know that this is the problem. Sometimes we suffer from things that can be easily taken care of, but we put them aside either because we think they're bigger or because we think they're nothing at all, and then the real problems come across. Look at your body in the same manner that you would look at your home or your car. It requires maintenance, and when you defer that maintenance, the problem gets bigger. So let's take care of our health. Let's make sure we're getting the right things in our body, and we are exercising and taking care of our body and making sure the environment around us is conducive for all of those things above. That's all for today, you guys. Stay tuned for my next video. Will it be in the kitchen? Will it not? We'll see. For most people this time of year, you get in the kitchen and you're doing all your baking. For some of us with chronic illness, the weather is really hard for us. And so, will I be in the kitchen? Will I not? I don't know. But I promise you I will have something good and interesting to talk about. That's all for now. Thank you for joining me. Remember, like, subscribe if you haven't. click on that bell so you get notifications, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.